Oh, dude, Supersonico for Nitro Plus. That works.
I looked that up too. I saw that. I didn't even think it was worth mentioning.
There you go. Dude, being a fucking weeb. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 64. That is 64 of the Thought Patrol podcast. Getting that much closer to 100. But we're very still. Oh, 69. Episode 69 will be special. No, it won't. I don't know. What would we even do on episode 69? How could we bring respect to the number 69 through our content? I have no clue.
I think the number 69 has already earned a maximum respect. That is a sacred number.
Indeed. The one to live the ages. But how you guys doing? We're back this week. Hanging out. Not much has happened last week. In the last week, at least gaming news-wise. We have a few things here and there. But I am joined by Shawn again. I'm going to try next week to get my sister on because she has returned from Greece. But she's incredibly tired from the flight. Like a 10-hour flight. Incredibly jet-lagged. But I would like to have her back on because she is technically one of the hosts. She's been on more episodes than any of the other respective hosts, like at once kind of thing. So we do treat her here as family, like we do with all our other hosts. So we'd like to get her back on. But it's just me.
Also, she is family.
Yeah, well, yeah, technically she's my family. Technically, depends who you ask. But so it's just gonna be me and Shawn tonight. We have a pseudo-packed episode. We got some things we can talk about. Got some good questions here, too. So, we're going to go ahead, get right into it. Shawn, how the fuck have you been, dude? How's your week been?
Yeah, so I got the Shenmue.
Okay. Remaster, or not remaster. I won't even call that a remaster. A remake.
It's not a remake. It's a remaster. If it was a remake, they would have redone it from the ground up. It's not a remake for sure. But I got it. They did. I think they did the right thing. They were going for historical preservation.
Yeah.
Instead of remaking it or trying to make it more beautiful or whatnot. So they left all the kinks in. They did make it so that it's able to play on modern TVs without looking like fucking all wonky and shit.
Yeah.
The cutscenes are still, was it 4:9 or whatnot? But the game itself is now appropriately in widescreen, so I'm pretty happy about that. It's more vibrant. It's a little bit prettier, but overall it is the same game. It plays the same way. It's clunky just the way it was before. Although back then it wasn't as clunky. I strongly suggest if anybody has a passion for adventure games and a passion for role-playing games and likes something unique and different, to definitely pick it up. But you do have to be able to jive with kind of like an older feel to the game, I guess you could say. There's a lot of current conventions not present in the game, so that both makes it hard and not always the absolute most comfortable thing to play.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall quality of the game is stellar. It's definitely not a current gen game. It doesn't look like a current gen game. It doesn't play like one. The controls and combat does get a little bit smoother and less clunky in the second game. I don't know if that was, just them improving the system or if it was them showing his improvement as a fighter as the game goes, because it's actually a martial arts RPG. So instead of turn-based combat or kind of like the Tales action combat, what you instead have is it's a fighting game, but you'll either fight one opponent or you'll fight a squad of opponents, and everything moves in real time.
Kind of reminds me of Yakuza.
A little bit, but this one's dead serious. Well, I mean, Sega dead serious. Sega is not exactly known for keeping a straight face all of the time, but it's a good story. It's a fantastic story. They've already greenlit the sequel, the final to the trilogy, and this thing was planned from jump as a trilogy, which never happened back when they made it. It was groundbreaking in a lot of ways. So if you are a student of gaming and if you do enjoy retro gaming, I strongly suggest it, because you can see where everything from Skyrim to persistent world stuff to like all of these games that we play these days that we kind of take for granted as the current norm, you can see where they came from. But yeah, it's really good. Plus that, and it's not like all magical and ooey gooey unicorns and shit. Like the thing set in present, or I should say, not like the late, I think it was the mid to late 80s, 1983 or something like that, to 1986 or some shit. And it doesn't use, there's some spirituality to it, but overall it is definitely not what I would consider a supernatural experience. I wouldn't say it's completely straight out of that, but anyway.
Okay.
That's all I've got. Otherwise, my week was shit. Still looking for a better job. Not having the best of luck in my area, but I have not given up.
That's the most important thing.
Spider-Man.
Hell yeah, dude. Fuck Friday, man. It's Sunday as we're recording this, but Friday. I have that day off too. Yeah, I have that day off, so that day I'm gonna go in the morning, go pick it up in GameStop, because I did pre-order it at GameStop, and go home and play it. Just play it all day. And I've heard it's pretty good reviews haven't released yet, but I've talked to some people that have played it ahead of time, and they're liking it. So definitely I'm just fucking excited to get back into a Spider-Man game, dude. And one that isn't going to be doo-doo. I mean, I can't say it's going to be good, but I don't think it would be garbage. Like, I have doubts that it would be garbage. It might be average, which would be disappointing, but garbage, maybe not. Even if it is average, I'd still probably enjoy the game. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, dude. The running theory, or at least understanding, is that they're building off of what was good about Spider-Man 2 on PS1 and kind of taking it from there.
Dude, just that sentence alone gets me so fucking pumped to play this game.
I thought you were going to say Rock Hard, and I was like, yeah, me too.
I'm so fucking excited to play this game. But yeah, Rock Hard it's in there. It's not the number one priority, because that's just a constant state of being Rock Hard. But besides that,
Truth.
I'm just so fucking excited. We have some news about Spider-Man that we'll get into when we get into the main part of the podcast. But yeah, so I know recently, Shawn. Well, we're not technically finished, but we finished the second season of Konosuba. And I don't know if we ever said that we were watching it, but what do you think about what you've seen? I know it's not over yet because we don't have a third season. The OVA is kind of just like a side story. What do you think of Konosuba?
I enjoyed it. I'm going to do a write-up in the Streaming Geek on it at some point, probably within the next week. But I had just seen two very good comedy series and was not, I think we just finished Asabe. I think it's got one more episode.
Does it?
And I really didn't think you could top what I had seen. And whereas I don't believe that Konosuba tops it, I really don't think any of them are comparable. Asabi Asabasa is more of a Adult Swim, non sequitur humor.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy who made that is clearly a fan of, a lot of the Adult Swim stuff. Like, I guarantee you he's watched a lot of William Street from like the early 2000s, back when this stuff was very heavily prevalent, that type of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see shout outs to stuff like Oni and a lot of internet animation as well,
mm-hmm.
comedy animation. So I really love the fact that he puts that in there. There's a lot of gamer culture kind of laced into stuff, and anime culture laced into stuff, which is kind of fun. So if you are at all into that kind of stuff, and I mean on a borderline clinical level, you're going to really enjoy Asabi Asabasa. And with the myriad colors of Phantom World, that had me laughing super hard too. And I think that one's there's a lot of meta stuff in there, like commentary stuff about anime and poking fun at anime
yeah.
at the same time.
A lot of that
reveling in it.
show is just is like you're saying, poking fun at different genres of anime and just the quirks that exist in anime, which is pretty cool.
It's an anime
about making fun of anime.
comedy anime that is there for people who like comedy anime.
Yeah.
Like in general, it's and like poking fun at their one of their hobbies. But with Konosuba, it feels like a fantasy that they let a bunch of comedians just improv their way through.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain organic quality to how the humor plays off that's just beautiful. It's perfect.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you, but I think a lot of the dialogue, like they were kind of given a base level of here's what we need to go for it, and a lot of it was improv from what I've heard from other people, especially Kazuma's voice actor. I know a lot of the things that became part of the show that made it into the final cut of the show, a lot of it was improv, like either on his part or some of the other voice actors' parts. I don't know which one it is, but I know one of them helped the Kazuma's voice actor with a lot of the improv too. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember reading something about it on Crunchyroll. They had an article about it. So it's not just Kazuma's voice actor, but some of the female voice actors got in on the improv too and helped kind of through their interactions with each other make the show, again, like you're saying, an organic kind of feel to the interactions. And that's what it kind of became for me as I watched it. Is I didn't care about character development. I didn't care about what was ultimately going on. A lot of it was, give me these characters, keep giving me these characters, and put them in situations where they could just bounce off of each other. And the way they bounce off of each other through their interactions and through the way that they spoke to each other and the things that the voice actors did improv wise, just it makes the show so enjoyable, because even though you've never met any of these characters, they feel like real people. They all have shitty qualities that they harken on, and they just, even in a fantastical element, you kind of feel like you're slowly becoming friends with these people as you watch them go through just fucking absurd situations. And it's just, and that really says something to both the voice actors and the writing of the characters and how they built these characters and how they interact with one another. It just makes you feel like you're part of the bunch. You're almost like a bystander watching them go through this insane shit. I fucking love Konosuba. It's a really good show. And if you're looking for it to watch, before we continue, if you want to watch Konosuba, and we both recommend that you do, they have both seasons on Crunchyroll, but you have to type in to get there. You can't just type in Konosuba. You have to type in like God's blessing upon this world or something like that. But if you just type in God''S, it should show up in the search results on Crunchyroll. But like, for some reason, if you just type in Konosuba, it doesn't show up. I have no clue why.
It shows up when I type Kono now, but it wasn't.
That's interesting.
It was not. I had to do the world thing for a while, but I don't know if there was a tag missing or what.
I have no
it's
clue.
Supposed to just recognize the letter patterns.
If you don't want to watch it on Crunchyroll, you could just fucking watch it somewhere, or just Google Konosuba Crunchyroll, like through Google, and you'll probably find it that way too. But definitely a fantastic fucking comedy. I also like that, even though it is forefront to comedy, they do a lot to build the world that they created. Like little things here and there that they show you that kind of gives you an idea of how the world works. Like they have one episode where they go to a spring, but the whole way they get there, and from using the wagons and how they move around the world, and showing how the quest log works, because a lot of this world shares the the methods that you would do things in an RPG video game. So you'd go to a quest, they'd have like a guild hall, and you go to they have a quest board where you could pick up quests, almost Monster Hunter-esque, and go out and do the quests. They treat the game, or they treat the show very much like a isekai, where this dude it's pretty much isekai. It falls into the genre 100%. Dude dies in his world, gets sent to another world, or somehow gets moved to a fantasy environment, where he's out of place. But this one kind of, it takes it and flips it on its head, where instead of the normal common conceptions you'd see, like, oh, dude gets put in another world and he has like women swooning over him and he's the hero and he's saving the day. It's more like you have a useless dude that dies. He gets sent to another world and he's still useless. He's not the hero, although he does grow as a character. And eventually he gets more, he has heroic moments every once in a while, but it's not like there's a big change where it doesn't feel like realistic. You feel through Kazuma's story and everything that he goes through, he feels like a real person. He has moments where he's self-centered. He could be an asshole. And he's like genuinely like disgusted by one of the characters at sometimes, even though he does like, and he even has like a point in the show where he straight up says, he's like, I mean, I have beautiful girls all around me, but they're all insane. And then he meets another character and he basically says, I'm looking for like that nice girl. Give me a girl with a good personality because I'm surrounded by like people with shitty personalities, kind of thing. And he's good.
That's what makes it so interesting. It's a comedic deconstruction of the isekai genre or subgenre, and it's a bunch of just, I wouldn't say they're despicable people, but when you take a bunch of the characters that just aren't what you would consider decent human, or I'd say heavily decent human beings, they're not the nicest people on earth. They're all fairly selfish individuals, and when you have dialogue that could be popping out of a Kevin Smith movie or a Harold Ramis movie or any of these, fantastic films that have popped out over the last, say, 30, 40 years that were heavily built upon this improvisational humor, stuff with Bill Murray and stuff with Seth Rogen and stuff with watching The Office and things of that nature. It's kind of on that level of comedy. It's very surreal. It's very unrealistic. The characters are extremely overblown. They're not real people in that sense. In that sense, they're very exaggerated. But in terms of, like, when you're looking at growth, when you're looking at storytelling, things are done very smartly. So you don't have a lot of exposition unless it's exposition to poke fun at exposition. Everything else is done organically. You learn about the world not by people telling you, but like Kyle was saying, you see how they travel because they travel somewhere. So there's not a lot of corners cut there.
Yeah.
I just think it's very smart. It's very smart storytelling, and I enjoyed it for that.
Yeah, in both the way that the story does develop, and in also how the characters are and their interactions. Everything, again, is smartly done, as you were saying. I agree 100% there. And overall, it's just a very fun and good show to watch, especially if you can get someone to sit down with you and watch it. Because that's how I like watching, especially comedies, like watching a comedy by yourself. Although I usually try to avoid watching any anime by myself, just because I like talking with other people as I watch or after I watch something, and just discussing stuff about it. Because that's if you guys have been listening for long, you'd know that I'm all about like discussion in any sense, whether we're mad with each other or happy with each other. It's about talking to each other. And kind of figuring out how each other's footsteps. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But I like sitting down. If you could get someone to sit down with you and watch the show with you, especially someone that's been watching anime for a while, just you have a friend that you watch anime with, or he watches a lot of anime. It's like there's so many things that someone that's just sitting down to watch it as a comedy wouldn't necessarily get compared to someone sitting down that is like deeper into anime and has been watching anime for a long time, but not to say that the person that hasn't won't enjoy it either, just because it has like silly, goofy shit, something you'd see like, like in Family Guy or something. I think the comedic timing in this show is really good too, especially the way the characters respond to one another. Even just the thing where when everyone calls out Kazuma, instead of him just listening, you'll hear like the voice actor like really, really off in the distance kind of thing. He's like, "Yeah, I'm Kazuma," just like every fucking time someone responds to him.
And he does it deadpan. There's a lot of really good deadpan in this show.
Oh man, fuck, it's so good, and it really, it's definitely like a being there and being involved kind of thing is when it gets you, because that's when it hits harder. So we're not going to sit here and just explain why the show is funny. I'd rather you just go ahead and watch it, because it's in the moment that you're there, that you're invested in this deep plot against the Dullahan that's put a curse on one of the team, blah blah blah, and then you have someone and you have someone respond with something that just drops the mood right at that moment, and it's when you're invested that's when the dead pin hits hard. So I definitely recommend watching it. Shawn, if you had to give this a score out of 5, what would you give it? Even though we're not done yet.
So far?
Yeah, so far.
I'd say probably about an 8, 8.5.
Okay, I said out of 5, but
maybe
I'll take
more.
it.
Huh?
I said out of 5, but I'll take it.
That's important. I'd say a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, I can't really think of a thing that can bring this show down. I mean, maybe I'm thinking. I would have to think hard. I see the 4 out of 5 though, because I mean it's not perfect, and I think sometimes maybe they stretch or they stick to, like, we know how Japanese humor is, where sometimes they'll take a joke and they'll beat it to death. Although in this show they do.
Sometimes I'd like to see them get a little serious. I'd like to see them do a little more, but I don't fault it for what it's doing.
No,
I think that I don't go for stupid comedy often, unless it's handled, I don't know, in an intelligent way, which is why I liked Adult Swim so much. So when you have something like this, where it is at times very stupid comedy, but they always back it up with a smart joke. So the stupidity of it usually doesn't wear on me like it does in other comedies that I just couldn't get into.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm not a huge anime comedy fan, so aside from all that unplanned for gushing on Konosuba, sorry about that, folks.
No, not a problem. I did ask you what you thought about it. Yeah, I'll go. Fuck. I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess I could come up with a few things here and there. So I'll go with a 4. 4 useless, shitty people. I think that fits too. 4 useless, shitty people that have to take on the Demon King out of 5. So definitely watch it if any of it sounded interesting to you. We highly recommend it. It was quite a fun watch. Although we still got to go back watch the OVAs. I think there's 2 OVAs we got to go to, and now we're waiting for season 3 and the theatrical film release, which both have me excited now that I've rewatched the show with Shawn. So definitely fun. Now, do you have anything else, Shawn, before we move forward?
No, I haven't done anything else. My week has been trash because that horrible workplace. Take pity on me, listeners.
My week's been pretty good. Video game wise, I've played just a lot of WoW. I've played a little bit of other things here and there. I've been playing Hunt Showdown. I picked it up because it was like $20, because I had it before, but it was for the free weekend. So that game's, I really enjoy that game. We had a few like ball busting moments on the stream when we were playing it. It was basically, so the objective of the game, it's a battle royale, but you spawn your hunters that belong to an organization, and there's a disease that breaks out in Louisiana. And it's like a zombie virus, but there's also like monsters that have flocked. The lore itself isn't really too deeply explained, besides in just a shitload of flavor text you have to read through for the most part. But it's a battle royale, so it's really not like a narrative or anything like that. So you belong to this hunter organization, and you're tasked with getting rid of the bigger monsters in the area. Although there are zombies that walk around. On top of that, the main idea is the monsters that are within the map. Now their areas change every game. Although right now it's only one map, it's still early access. It's not even at 1.0, so it hasn't hit full release yet. So they're still working on the game, adding things here and there. So what I'm explaining now might not work if you're listening to this 3 months down the line. But the idea is you spawn in a corner of the map, and then you'll either have one or two monsters that are located on the map somewhere. And the two monsters in the game currently are a butcher and a spider. Every monster in the game, even the smaller trash mobs that you find hanging out, they all have a weakness of some sort. Like the spider's fire, the butcher's explosives. Some enemies are weak to fire, some you can dispatch quickly with a knife to the head, or other things like that. But on top of the PvE element, there are PvP elements as well, because they drop, I think it's 10 other hunters. It's 10 in total. So if you could either play solo or duos. So if you play solo, you got 9 other hunters to worry about. If you're doing duos, you have 8 other hunters to worry about. And you basically go and hunt down these monsters. You find clues, which kind of cuts off parts of the map so you can get closer. You then fight and kill the monster, and then you have to banish it. And then once you banish it, you pick up the bounty, and you have to extract with the bounty. That's the only way you get experience, is by actually extract. I mean, I guess you'll technically get experience because there's 2 levels. You have one for the hunter you currently have recruited, and a bloodline rank, which is for the entire, just your account, which revolves around account unlocks such as weapons, equipment, perks, shit like that you could give to new hunters every time you recruit them. But if your hunter does die, he dies. You lose all the stuff you had for him. He's gone. You'd have to recruit a new one with a new loadout, and you could customize the loadout to your desire. You do make money by doing everything, so that's your income. So if you have a hunter that's a high level, he dies. You recruit a new one, and then you could load him out with all the weapons that you usually use and stuff like that. I love the atmosphere in the game because it's swampy. It's very, like, at night, it's very creepy with everything. You have zombies everywhere. You have other people to worry about as well, on top of these big monsters that you're trying to kill. So the atmosphere is very cool, and the atmosphere allows for very, like, interesting game moments. One of the things is with Battle Royale that makes Battle Royale so fun for a lot of people is because you're against other people, there's always room for different scenarios as you play. So, like, people say no single game of Fortnite can go alike, kind of thing, because you have 100 people doing different things. The same thing applies to all Battle Royale. So here, it's possible you could be hunting down the spider, run into a group of hunters right away and have a gunfight with them, or you can go the entire match and not see a single person because either they did something else and fucked off, or they died to a PvE element somewhere else on the map. And another thing is interesting, if everyone dies, you don't know that. There's nothing that tells you how many people are left. There's nothing that tells you who you killed or who you didn't kill. So a lot of it is very sound-based. So if you toss a grenade into a room, you're not necessarily able to tell if you killed the person that was in there unless you're close enough to hear them scream when they die. So it's not like a hit marker will pop up and tell you eliminated this person, 100 points, blah, blah, blah. It is very, very built on being a pseudo kind of realistic feel to the Battle Royale. Guns are slower. They're all lever action based, so you'll usually only fire one bullet at a time unless you have like a double-barreled shotgun or something. And it's mostly rifles and shotguns. So the gunplay itself is very slow. It feels good though, but gunfights can take a very long time because you're using weapons that shoot slower. They're not very easy to handle. Sight lines are usually awkward in a swamp unless you're inside. I mean, a fight can either take a minute or a fight can take half a second if you get fucking domed by a dude with a shotgun. You're not going to survive that. So it always adds for interesting moments. And one moment we had last night, which is what I'm leading to with all this talk, is we were playing on stream, and I was queuing up with my friend Tyler to play a duos match. Problem was, he got kicked out in the middle of loading. Again, early access. What you gonna do? So I'm like, I'll play without him. We'll see what we can do. See if I can get a kill or something, and then I'll try and extract. So we go up to the spider. We're pretty much uncontested, looking for the spider for the most part. We finally get up there. We banish it, and we have the spider bounty. Now I'm like, sitting at that point, we're probably about 15 to 20 minutes into the game, and I'm like, no one started banishing the butcher yet. So it's possible that the butcher, either everyone's dead or people just didn't decide to do the objective. It's really hard to tell sometimes. I don't even know if you can spawn in an empty server. I've never done it. Or you can't tell. There's no way of telling. So I'm like, I'm going to go check out the butcher. Now, as I was getting closer, I heard gunshots. I'm like, there's definitely people here. And as I'm approaching, I hear that they start banishing the butcher. So I run up to the building where they're banishing him, which takes a decent amount of time. And they're using the in-game voice chat, so I could hear them through the building. So I hear them hanging out. Now I show and I see one through the window, and he sees me. And so I just drop down and haul ass away, and I wait to see what happens. So they go ahead and pick up the bounty eventually, because I couldn't get inside, and they start hauling ass towards the extraction, even though they know I'm out there. They didn't really try and confront me. Sometimes people in this game are a bunch of pussies. It's ridiculous. So I see them running, and I start shooting at them, and I hit one of them as he like passes by a tree, and they keep running. And I'm like, are you guys really not going to fight me? I'm by myself. Now they don't know I'm by myself, because they don't know if I'm solo or with a duo partner. They have no clue. So they're probably just being cautious. I mean, whatever. But I was like, I want to get this. I want to see if I can get a running the gauntlet, which is the game's term for getting all of the bounties in the area and extracting with it. So I wanted to try it. And I already had the spider. They had the butcher. So I needed to kill them, at least one of them, to get the bounty so I could leave. So they run up, and I hear him like, the dude's like, should I just go for it or should we kill him? And I'm like, I'm gonna get these fuckers. So I'm chasing them. And I turn around and I see one of them standing behind a tree aiming at me. So I duck behind the tree, and we basically start having a gunfight. And his friend pushes up from the left side, my left. The thing is we're in deep water, so I could hear him wading through it. So he comes up. I hit his friend like 2 to 3 times behind the tree while we were having our gunfight. He comes up, and I hit him once right in like the neck and take him down in one shot. And then his friend starts to push me. He pushes me, he hits me, and brings me down to like a sliver of health. And then I hit him with the final hit and end up killing him. So I basically took down a group of 2 to get their bounty, and I was able to successfully extract with both bounties, and my character leveled up like fucking 20 times because of it. This is my first time playing on that character. But just like those moments, like I cannot tell you how tight my ass was in that whole situation, in that fight and everything going on there. So I was just a crazy like situation, but that one I've never had before. And there's still so many others that are possible, just because you're playing against people that are smart. They're intelligent. They know about the game. You're not coming up against a zombie that's just walking toward you trying to bite you. You're against a person that has their own loadout, their own equipment, and their own gun, and you're both trying to murder each other. And that's what I'm assuming is the reason why a lot of people like Battle Royale, is because of that altercation that comes with. It's not just like Call of Duty where everyone's just shooting at each other. There's a survival element to the smart enemies, because there are other people and shit like that. I don't know, but I'm enjoying Hunt for what it is. Besides that, it's just been WoW, Hunt. I'm thinking we started playing Fatal Frame on stream. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that night a lot. Definitely a fun game. It was harder than I remember, to tell you the truth. I did not expect to get my ass handed to me as roughly as I did, just because of, I don't know, like some of the ghosts were faster. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if there's no difficulty mode. You just play the game. So, but we eventually got through it. We got through the first night, and we had started the second one, which is called Demon Tag. But definitely a fun game. Also another very tense game. If you've never heard of Fatal Frame, it's basically, think Luigi's Mansion, but Japanese. And the way you capture ghosts is by letting them get as close to you as possible and taking a picture of their face. That's the only way you can do damage to them.
Luigi's Mansion was Japanese.
Yeah. listen. I don't need
Anyway,
that.
I wanted to be a part of that stream, but I had some shit going on.
No, dude, not. We'll probably.
I think Fatal Frame is fantastic.
Yeah, they're fucking good games. We'll probably. We got a decent amount of viewership on that, so we'll probably continue it next Friday. And continue playing the game if you'll be available for that one, or you can continue playing it. I enjoyed it a lot though. Very fucking fun game, and it's also fun because it's like early 2000s Japanese game that was ported to the States, so the localization team just felt like they didn't need to try with the voice acting and stuff. So that was funny, just hearing some of the voice actors just not give a fuck when they drop their lines, like they're being paid with like a cup of coffee and maybe $1. So that provided for some comedic moments, but the game itself is just so much fun. Very fun game, very tense with the way that you have to combat the spirits, and some of those spirits are like genuinely quick. We had a few decent jump scares in that process, so definitely fun game. So that's been about my week. I've been really enjoying the games I've been playing. Looking forward to get back to grinding WoW. Right now my gear level is like 302. I'm trying to get to 305 so I can start doing mythic dungeons, which are basically harder versions of the normal dungeons. And then those can start getting me better gear so I could get to raid gear level, which is 350. And I think the raid drops on Tuesday, which is the same day that the podcast is coming out. So I most likely will not be geared by that time. But hey, you can't even do LFG for the raid until like a few months after. So the only way you can do a raid now is by finding other people to group with, like online or through another, like you would do in Destiny, Shawn. Mm-hmm. And then later they add an LFG system, or it's called LFR, looking for a raid, whatever. And you can actually queue up into matchmaking to do the raid, but they make you wait like a month or two to do it. So definitely excited. I've never played WoW to a point where the raids were actively coming out and the excitement surrounding that, with everyone getting ready for that, like with the grind in that way. So that's been a fun experience. And I did eventually actually pick up a DPS. So I picked up a Demon Hunter because I didn't want to start from level 1, so rather start from 98. And now that Demon Hunter is 120 and they're 302. So my healer's kind of lagging behind a bit. I'll eventually get them back up. But with the ratio in a raid to like DPS to healers, where they're being, if you're doing like a 30-man raid or something like that, you'll have like 4 healers and like 20 something DPS and then like 2 tanks. Like, so yeah, I think it's okay to kind of be a DPS, although I still have the healer on the side, which I'll probably bring up as they make it easier to acquire higher level gear, which will probably happen a little bit after the raid comes out to help people kind of push people along to get to raid level to experience the raid. So maybe I'll do that and I'll start leveling that. But I'm making my Demon Hunter my main and my healer my ult. So I could have two things to run raids with every week, because they're on like a weekly timer and stuff. So yeah, besides that, been having fun, playing some good games, been enjoying my time and everything I've been playing. And that's about it for my week. Haven't seen anything. I want to go try and see Happy Time Murders sometime next week, maybe with my sister and some friends, see if we could get anyone together. I can go check that out because it looked funny to me what I saw through the ads and shit like that. So, all right. So I'm glad you can join me, Shawn. I'm glad everyone tuning in tonight, or whenever you're tuning in, wherever you're tuning in from. We appreciate you guys for hanging out with us every week. Definitely helps a lot to know that there are people out there that do listen, that do somewhat pseudo care about what we're saying on the internet. It touches my heart. It brings a tear to both my heart, my eye, and my penis, and I appreciate it. Your heart can't cry. Don't listen to that. So we're gonna go ahead and move forward into housekeeping, real quick. We have a few things to discuss before we get into the stuff you guys actually came here for. And the first thing is Twitch streams. As I said before, we do stream on Twitch. I'm gonna keep saying this because you'll never know when it might bring another person to the stream. It is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We stream. We stream for anywhere from 3 to 5 hours each night, depending on what's going on. We'd love to see you guys there, hang out with us for a bit. We play a variety of different games. It's not just one thing. It really depends on what's going on, what's happening that night, who's available, and stuff like that. So we'd love to see you guys there. If you want to talk with the hosts and the community, feel free to join the Discord. We do read the comments on YouTube. So if we talk about something this week that interests you, you have something to say opinion-wise, we'd love to hear from you guys, hear you guys' opinions on what we were talking about. Feel free to leave a comment below on YouTube. You could also subscribe while you're there, or if you're listening on a podcast service, we are pretty much everywhere: Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. We're all over the place. Feel free to... One more time?
I was just saying, we've also been doing games with the Thought Patrol community. We've been playing Trove on PS4, which is a lot of fun. It's kind of like take the building mechanics of Minecraft and then throw in MMO combat and then kind of like Diablo light exploration. It's an interesting game. It's a lot of fun. I can usually play it for a few hours, and I'm not a kind of person that can sit inside of a game that's not an RPG and play it for long periods of time. Outside of Arkham Asylum, which I can do forever, or the Arkham series, but pretty much everything else, it is a lot of fun. Everyone we've introduced it to has been fairly fond of it, except for Perry, but we won't talk about Perry because he's a curmudgeon.
Fucking Perry.
But you're welcome to join us in Trove or any of the multiplayer games that we do get involved in. Or if you have something you'd like us to join you in, put it on there and we'll see if we can't get into it.
Yeah, the best way to do any of that is fucking Discord. I love Discord. If you're not on Discord or you haven't taken that plunge to hang out with us that way, that's one of the best ways to get involved in the community, hang out with the hosts, speak with other members, and do all that stuff is through Discord. Basically a big-ass chat room that you can sign into. You could also mute the server if you're not a fan of having your phone get fucking blown up and just popping in every once in a while to say hi. Definitely an awesome service and super fun. It's also nice for us to hear from you guys. We say it every week, but we love hearing from the people that we attract to the podcast, the people that tune in each week. It's nice to hear from you guys. So that's awesome. We also have Twitter. At Thought Patrol PD, you get updates there, announcements when we're going live. If we decide to do game night, everything will get dropped there. I dropped my pen as always. We also on Facebook, which is at Thought Patrol Podcast. You could probably search Thought Patrol Podcast to find us there. We put up reviews for the Streaming Geek there, so you can see what Shawn writes. We also, again, announcements. We do announcements there and stuff like that. If I ever do polls for any reason, we'll drop polls everywhere. So they'd be on Facebook, iTunes, or Facebook, Twitter, and Discord and stuff like that. So definitely, those are the few avenues you have of keeping up to date with what we're doing here. And if any one of them sounds comfortable for you, we'd appreciate you stopping by and saying hi on any of those respective platforms. So. Oh my goodness, I always have burps when we do this fucking show. And you know what it is? I think it's because I eat dinner before we do it. I need to stop doing that. But if I don't, then it's like 12 o'clock or whatever, and then I'm eating dinner. And that's not good. So, we have two really good questions coming from Lark, our boy Lark. He dropped two big questions. We had one that he dropped yesterday after the stream or after the podcast, and then we have one that he dropped this week for the podcast. So we have two to go through. First one, we have again Lark. I was watching some pro League of Heroes of the Storm. That's what they call that game. I thought it was just called Heroes of the Storm.
What? No,
Whatever.
It's just Heroes of the Storm.
I don't know.
Maybe even like Heroes of the Storm Pro League or something.
Oh, I was watching some pro League of Heroes of the Storm. Okay, because I saw League of, and I thought League of Legends, but then it hit Heroes of the Storm, and I was confused. The other day on Twitch, noticed people making donations on the official channel. Top was 60,000 bits, which is, how many dollars is that? That would probably be, that's $600. So that's a $600 donation. I'll admit I haven't looked into if those donations go to the teams or the companies that either own the team or the owner of the game. What are your thoughts on these types of donations? In my mind, I liken it to watching football and then deciding to donate $100 to ESPN. Just curious what everyone's thoughts are. What do you think, Shawn?
I have no idea. If it goes to the company, I don't understand why you're doing that. I mean, playing the game or paying for the stream, if it's like a pay-per-view kind of thing, I think would be sufficient.
Yeah.
I don't know why anyone would pay for that. But some people have more money than sense. So maybe it's one of those situations. I really couldn't answer you. But if I was to give my personal opinion on donating to something like that, I would probably say I think it's ludicrous.
Okay. I was trying to think of a song that Ludacris did, and nothing came to mind. That's how.
Oh, you think you take a hoe to a hotel? Hoes on that, right? Hoes on a mission and hoes on a crack pipe.
Hell yeah, dude. That's pretty good. You could have fucking sang a My Little Pony song, and I would not be able to dispute if it was actually done by Ludacris or not. That's how little I know about the man. So I appreciate you for helping me out there. But when it comes to this, I know it depends on the stream, but in a direct sense, it goes to whoever runs the Twitch channel. So it's most likely the company. And then they can do whatever the hell they want with it at that point. Either they divvy it up or just keep it for themselves. I have no fucking clue. I know Overwatch sometimes they'll do like charity ones where all the donations that come through for the stream during a tournament or something like that, all those donations would go to charity. That's what they say. I don't know if they ever provide like evidence for their donations to charity, but
it's not like Blizzard needs the money.
No, that's true. And the same thing would go for Heroes of the Storm, which is also Blizzard. So they might do it the same way that way. I have no clue. I don't know how they do it, but they're also.
I can handle that.
What happened?
I said I could handle that if they put together a nice stream and you want to support a charity of some type. That's not a terrible idea.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, people donating $600 to other things like streamers, again, I don't really see an issue with that. If they have the money and they want to support someone for what they do, that's fine by me. Go ahead. I mean, it's pretty much 100% what a streamer does is they are trying to make their livelihood off of crowdfunding. That is 100% what they do. So it very much depends on the personality that you have, the people you attract, and how willing they are to give you money. And that's where your livelihood comes from. It's pretty crazy. So I'm completely fine with someone donating a lot of money to a streamer, especially if they have the money to donate. That really doesn't bother me. Now, for these companies, it really depends. If they were doing a charity live stream and then someone dropped $100 to that, and then all that money was going to that charity, hell yeah, fine by me. If it was straight up just $600 going to Blizzard, I don't know what the fuck that person was thinking. It sounds silly. I mean, I don't know. Some people also do it just for the notoriety in that moment, because you're not only giving to show the person that is streaming your love, but the people in the chat your love as well. So it might also be a way of going, hey, look at me, I could throw money down, and then 100,000 people are reacting with poggers or whatever emotes, and then for that 15 seconds you feel special, kind of thing. It might be also something like that, which is one of the reasons why you can have they have like trains of bits or something like that, or trains of subs happen, because like one person starts and other people, in order to feel inclusive, they'll start getting on the train, getting on the hype and generating hype. And it's just like this whole fucking, it's a dumpster fire, but it's a positive dumpster fire, because whoever that's happening to is making a lot of money. But like, of people trying to either get attention or just show their support or just follow along in that hype train kind of thing. That kind of bandwagon mentality, but in a positive light. So it might be something like that too. I have no idea. I don't know how they track their bits. Usually if you're looking at it and it's above the stream, it could either be over the course of a week or over the course of a month or all time. So it also depends how they had it set up. If it was all time, that means that over the time that Blizzard has had their their sub channel that this person has donated $600 over time. It might have not necessarily been in one donation, so you don't really necessarily know. But I appreciate the question, Lark. We're gonna go ahead and go on to the other one, which I still don't really know how to answer because I can't think of an example in my experience. But we'll see what we could do here. What is a game from your childhood that you loved and would like to see remade, but you feel the mechanics that made the game great at the time wouldn't translate to current games? I loved a game called Archon. It was like chess where the colors on the board would change each turn. If you fought on your color, you would have a health advantage. Some units were melee and some were ranged. When you tried to take a piece out and the other player's piece would go into an arena and you would fight it out, the winning piece remained on the board. It was an amazing game for its time, but I don't think it would translate well to current gaming. What is your game? What made it great to you? And what part of the game do you not think would work in today's gaming environment? What do you think, Shawn?
I would put half the NES library under that banner. Well, I mean, no, that's not entirely true. The NES library still works strongly because it was simple, but there were some games I think that you go back to play them now and they're just a little too not interactive enough, or there's not enough story, or it's just a little too repetitive. But for the time, it was, pretty stellar. I would say, God, what was the guy with the shield?
Guy with the shield. That doesn't fucking help.
They did a reboot or a sequel on 3DS a while back.
Kid Icarus?
No. Although that's not a bad call either. This was about the time of like Kid Icarus and Karnov and shit like that.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of him right now. Rygar would be a good one.
What a name.
Yeah, Rygar would be a good one. The Magic Sword arcade cabinet would be a good one, because that game was fun as fuck in the arcades, but then if you go back and play it with unlimited continues, you realize it's fucking boring. The thing is all they did to amp up the difficulty was the enemies do more damage, your defenses go lower, but otherwise you're just going left to right, doing a single type of attack, and sometimes you have a magic attack, and sometimes you'll have a what would you call it? A helper. Mm-hmm. You can rescue people from locked doors. You get a key, you pass the locked door, you open it up. If you have a helper, they'll replace the helper. If you don't have a helper, they'll join you, and then they'll do additional attacks behind you. But it lacks any of the freshness or the things that keep it interesting, like some of the other games that just really take the run and gun or the run and stab genre to new levels, like Shinobi and the Ninja Gaiden arcade game and stuff like that. Like, those were just a lot more dynamic. This was mainly walking left to right with big bosses.
Yeah.
So I think if you took all the enemies and you took the basic premise of the game, which is working your way up, and I'm trying to remember. I think the arcade game had like 99 floors or some bullshit. But if you could make, like, say every 10 floors a different theme, and then you really kind of made each floor unique, and you really worked on differentiating the enemies, you could take that concept, that high fantasy hardcore action game, and really make it a lot of fun, but you can still keep it a side-scrolling hack and slash, but just add a lot of depth to it. So I think that would be a good thing to revisit. If you brought it out as it was now with just updated graphics, it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't. There wouldn't be enough there. You mentioned Kid Icarus. I think would be a great thing for them to rework. Although, in all honesty, Kid Icarus stands fairly soundly. It's just the story in Kid Icarus isn't as strong as it could have been on later generations, because they would have taken time with cutscenes and shit like they did on the 3DS. Excuse me. The 3DS incarnation, which I bought my kid. That one was pretty decent if they just ditched the on-rails bits. I hate on-rails.
I'm fucking thinking...
Wizards and Warriors. The Wizards and Warriors series, I think, was a little it had its weak moments that I think could be strengthened by giving it a stronger platform on, a stronger game.
Oh,
Not game, but putting it on like an actual system.
I had an idea that maybe might work for this question. Now, I haven't personally played this game, but I've watched people play it, and there's other games like it that were kind of pseudo big back in the day. They had their own arcade cabinets, but and we have games like them today. But I think those particular games, if they were brought to today and just made to look nicer, would not work. And I need to think what the one was called. Oh, why do I want to think it's called Dragon's Quest? No, that's not it. What the fuck? That's
Dragon's Quest is...
No, that's the JRPG. Dragon's Breath? No, that's a food. Oh, man. You have to fucking... Okay, Shawn, so let me explain what the game was to you. So it had an arcade cabinet and stuff, but it basically was... You were this dude and you're trying to save the princess, and everything was a cutscene, but Dragon's Lair. And there was another one like that was set up in like space, and you were trying to save a girl again, but Space Ace. I was gonna say Space Cadet. But those two games, if they took the exact same game and just brought it to today and just updated the graphics, I don't think it would work. Now we have games like that, like Detroit Become Human and stuff, where it's like a heavy narrative experience, but they still have a semblance of gameplay.
Yeah, but that was just push left, push right. That was
it was literally input a direction and watch a different cutscene play. I think
the only reason to play that was because of the graphics, and now you can do that without any of that shit.
Yeah, so
although I don't know if you could make a game. Well, no, they've done hand animated games before, so it's possible.
Yeah, so I think if they just took those two games and brought them to today and didn't change anything about them except the way they looked. I mean, since they were all... Well, Space Ace was still done like... It felt like it was done in an engine. It had cutscenes, though, where Dragon's Lair was straight cutscenes for the most part. Actually, no, didn't Dragon's Lair have a little bit of gameplay elements that were really difficult?
No, not Space Ace didn't either, dude. Space Ace was just another Laserdisc thing. It was just left, right, up, down.
Those fucking games. I don't think those games would do well at all in today's gaming environment. Maybe if they were... Because the only thing I could see people playing them for would be a nostalgic element to it. But... Like, if they straight just brought those games to the modern gaming environment, I don't think they'd do well. Especially if they try... Imagine if someone brought a game like Space Ace or Dragon's Lair to modern-day consoles and tried to charge $60 for that game. That would not go well whatsoever. Especially if they showed what it was like prior. I don't think that would go well with our current gaming environment at all. Especially with people wanting some form of longevity from their games, like something that you can't beat in like 3 hours, and although with how difficult they were, and you were just kind of discovering which button was the right button to press, and it was all trial and error, it might take a little bit longer. I don't know how long it took to beat those games, but I can't see that going well for like a full price game dropping today that was like those two. That's one example I thought. I'm trying to think of others. Like, I'm trying to think of old game Duck Hunt. I mean, it worked well in arcade, but I can't see it in today's gaming environment. Fucking Duck Hunt. I don't know.
A light gun game? Well, I mean, a static screen light gun game. Yeah, that'd be like I mean, sure, they've got indie games like that, but
yeah,
I was thinking of something a little bit more. No, I mean, I was thinking of stuff that needs a treatment, but like the Dragon's Lair is a perfect example of a game that I can't imagine a way of redoing that game where it doesn't still suck ass. Dragon's Lair was pretty, but it's really not a game. It's an interactive film, and most of the scenes repeat like 10 times. And it was dumb.
Yeah.
It was really extraordinarily dumb.
Yeah.
For the time, it was interesting because it was able to look like no other game. Games were horribly ugly compared to that fucking... But it was just playing hand animated. It was playing a Don Bluth movie.
Yeah.
With Daphne and her tiny outfit and juggly jigglies.
I'm trying to think of something that will answer the first part of this question. There was one game I played. Now, this has nothing to do with the question, but there was one game I played a long time ago. It was on the NES. I think it was on the NES. But you were this little guy, and it was like kind of almost like an isometric game where you went through rooms, and you're trying to save the princess, but you're going through different rooms. Each room had a puzzle of some sort, and if you got hit even once, you died. It was straight death.
There's a ton of games like that.
I need to think of what it was. I think it was Wizard something. Wait, NES, Wizard.
Wizards and Warriors?
No, it was not Wizards and Warriors. It was
Milo's Secret Castle?
Why does Milo's Secret Castle sound like a... It's not Wizards and Warriors. It might have not even been NES. I think it was NES, though. Was it just called... Oh, no, that's Final Fantasy. It's a Final Fantasy... Dude, I'm not about... Oh, I see Rygar here, dude. Rygar.
Yeah, that game was interesting. They did top-down levels and side-scrolling levels. I thought, well, Rygar still stands strong enough to be a fun game to play. But a lot of NES games could only go so much depth, and I think those games really are inferior versions of what they could be now. But you'd want to stick with the varied gameplay. You'd want to pull another... You'd want to harken back to the days of the PS2 and to Nier.
I think I found
incorporating all these different elements.
I think it's called...
Seamlessly.
I think it's called Solstice. Oh, God. All right. I'm going to try and watch YouTube. Oh, sorry, guys. Play a little bit of music there. Yeah, I think it was called Solstice. Let me see if I can find game through. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. It is. It's this game. It's called Solstice. Google Solstice, Shawn.
I had that game. No, I had that game.
Yeah, I
don't remember it, but I had it.
You always died in one shot. You move from room to room, and you're just solving puzzles the entire time. And when your character died, they let out like this ghastly fucking wail of a scream that just like spooked the fuck out of me as a kid. It always freaked me out as a child. But that was a difficult ass game. That was one of those games where I couldn't get past like the first 3 rooms, but I played it for like 40 hours just because I was a stupid kid. But that I don't know why that game popped into mind. Because that game would do fine if they brought it to modern day, and that game would do fine. But I didn't play enough games when I was younger and in a critical eye, like where I actually was thinking, oh yeah, these mechanics are making this game good. This is making them good at this time. I was just playing a game to have fun. I could have fun with anything. So I don't really have any memories of something that I thought throughout the years, like, wow, this is really good, but I don't think it would do good today. So I don't really have a full answer to this question. I can only answer the second half. But hey, if I want a game to come back to this day and age and get a loving re-release, give me Solstice. But leave his scream the exact same. Don't touch it at all. I want to get that nostalgic feel of when I die for the billionth time. I apologize, Shawn. What were you saying?
I don't remember.
Something about Nier. That's the only word I heard.
Oh, no, I just think that there's a lot of NES games like the ones I mentioned that, like the Wizards and Warriors series and Rygar and stuff like that really were kind of missing depth because there's only so much you could fit on a cartridge. You know what I'm saying? So I think if we were to go at it with a fanboy treatment, not the Disney treatment. We're not trying to make it into something it isn't. Keep it the same game it was, but build on that, like add to it. I think that would be fantastic. A quality remake. I think that'd be super awesome.
Yeah.
Just bring back the game, bring back the gameplay. You've got your overhead spots, you've got your side-scrolling spots. You've got to go and get different weapons and armors and things like that to cross certain areas, a la, your typical adventure quest thing like Link and Darksiders and shit. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that's it'd be great to see those types of games come back. I mean, we still see them from time to time. It's just not nearly enough anymore, and it makes me sad.
Because I could think that if the dev knows what they're doing, they could take practically anything, bring it back. Like, I could see even the game that Lark is talking about, Archon. Like, I could see that being a card game or some sort, and people would play it. It's very difficult for me to think of something that wouldn't technically work in today's gaming environment because it's so vast, the environment that we live in today, and there's so many things that do get popular that are so different from one another, when it comes to just video games. So I find it so difficult of something that would not do well in today's day and age, besides like what I was saying before, which feel
I
like
think your arcade puzzlers wouldn't. I don't think you could make like bringing back like Pac-Man with the same exact mechanics. And no matter what kind of graphics you give it, I really don't see that pulling off anymore. It just doesn't have the depth that most people need.
I don't know.
You know, or like Qbert. You know, they just released an upgraded Qbert recently, and I played it, and it just didn't hold my attention.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like there's so many different people that play games for different reasons, but you'd also have to assume, in order for it to work in today's gaming environment, it would have had to have not existed before. Because if it existed for it could solely survive on nostalgic value. And so, like, if Pac-Man never existed and they released a game like Pac-Man today, would it do well? Besides the fact that it's fucking Pac-Man and people play it because it's Pac-Man.
I'm running off the assumption that we're not selling the game off of nostalgia. Like, we're selling it off of its own merits. And there are a lot of games like Ghosts and Goblins and your precision platformers and things that would do just fine.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of the old school adventure games, which were all side scrolling and which were brutally difficult or didn't really do much to lead you in a direction, those, where you kind of had to figure a lot of stuff out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that you could improve those because gamers are stupid now.
I don't know, because
those. And also give them, more story, more to chew on.
Yeah, but we're also not. I mean, the first question is like, it'd be cool to have the game come back, but the mechanics that made the game what it was back then would have to stay in touch. We couldn't add anything. And a game that doesn't really tell you what to do.
Yeah, you can. You can bring a game back and deepen the mechanics as long as you keep the core mechanics the same. It's still an overhead game where the emphasis is on combating mass. That's what they did with Doom. They brought Doom back, but they kept the mechanics the same.
I don't know, because like OG Doom, there wasn't as much of an emphasis on mobility as what we have in today's Doom. And
I wouldn't say that, man. The OG Doom was still very much about being able to move quickly. It was very much about mobility.
I would say Quake
I don't think that was intentional.
I would say Quake was about being able to move quickly around, but I never remember Doom being like OG Doom being that way. Duke Nukem I think Duke Nukem had more of an emphasis on mobility because you had things like jetpacks instead of just running. You're literally in Doom. There's nothing that allows you to experiment with going up or down. You could go faster on the ground. I mean, and speedrunners usually do stuff like that, and they utilize that. But the Doom was cool because at its time, it was something that was something we didn't really have before, like a pseudo 3D shooter, and it was like gory and badass, and the music was cool, and there was cool guns and all that stuff, and it was awesome for that. But I never remember a heavy emphasis on being able to move as you do today, kind of thing. I don't know.
You were fast in Doom.
Yeah, you were fast, but that doesn't mean that there was a heavy emphasis on mobility. Just because you could move quickly, like on the floor, skittering around. I don't know. What were we even fucking talking about originally that led to that?
Lyrics thing.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's just the way that I'm reading the question. It says, what would you like to see remade? You feel the mechanics that made them great at the time wouldn't translate to current games. So it kind of feels like the mechanics can't, like the game would come back, but the only remaking you're doing is making it look nicer, because the mechanics the mechanics from back then would have to hold true today, kind of thing. That's what I felt when I read the question.
They did it with Nier. Nier used old school mechanics.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say Nier would be something that would even fit in this way. It's just, it feels like if they brought back Archon, the game he's talking about, today with the same exact mechanics, but it looked nicer, would it hold today? That's what I feel he's asking in the question. I don't fucking know. Maybe he can clarify himself when he listens to the podcast. So hopefully we answered it, but we've already been on it for a few minutes. So I appreciate the question though, Lark. For you guys tuning in, let us know what you think. If you have an example that you can think of that would pertain to this question, let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys. But let's go ahead and move forward. Oh, so much talking. We have box office tops. Shawn, what movie do you think is number one?
I have no idea. I don't know what's out. I've been so busy.
Nothing new is out.
The Muppet movie. Although I want to say I doubt that sincerely.
Muppet movie's been out for 2 weeks, my friend. It's not new.
It's
okay. Well, number one.
Anything that's aimed at teenagers or is really, really lowbrow intelligence.
There you go. Number one's Crazy Rich Asians, which I'm assuming is that way. I've heard the movie's okay though, so I don't know. I've never seen it though. It pulled a total of $22 million for the weekend, sitting at a total gross of $110 million with a budget of $30 million in its third week. At number two, we have The Meg, pulling $10 million for the weekend, sitting at a total of $120 million with a budget of $130 million in its fourth week. At number three, we have Mission Impossible Fallout, pulling $7 million, sitting at a total of two.
It's funny that the Mission Impossible is below The Meg, and The Meg came out first.
Yeah, it's sitting at $204 million total gross with a budget of $178 million, sitting in its sixth week. At number four, we have Operation Finale. I have no fucking clue what this is, but it just came out this week. It's sitting at a total of $7 million with a budget of only $24 million. It's a broken pair of glasses, and the cracks form a swastika. So I have no fucking clue what this movie's about. It's directed by
glasses.
Directed by Chris Weitz. It has Oscar Isaac in it, Ben Kingsley, Melanie Laurent, and Nick Kroll.
Oh, that.
What's this movie about? Because I have no fucking clue. Let me see if I could look at the whatever. Fuck it. All right. Well, that one's sitting at number four with $6 million. At number five, we have an interesting movie in fifth place called Searching, sitting at a total of $5 million. Now, it is in its second week, Shawn, but this week it made $5 million. You want to see? Give me a guess.
How many theaters was it in?
Give me a guess of the percentage change from last week to this week for money.
It was probably a word of mouth boost. It quadrupled.
Did much more than that. It showed a percentage change of 1,366% change. It grabbed an additional 1,198 theaters across the U.S. And I have no fucking clue what this movie's about. Let's see. Searching. It's showing a phone. Is it like based on a book?
Yes, I believe so. Is that the one where they find the Nazi dude?
It's by Sony and Screen Gems.
Guy.
It's a thriller. It's PG-13. Why don't they have an IMDb thing here to give me a fucking... not to search up what Searching's about. Searching 2018. Or
we could just not care and move on.
I care, though. I want to see what it's about to do so well, and from one week to another. After David Kim... John Cho's 16-year-old daughter goes missing. A local investigation is open and a detective is assigned to the case. But 37... Oh, fuck, I lost it. But 37... What the hell? I lost it. I care. Chat. Here we go. 37 hours later, and without a single lead, David decides to search the place no one has looked yet, where all secrets are kept today, his daughter's laptop.
Oh, yeah. It's got David Cho. Yeah. I know the movie.
Okay. And a hyper-modern thriller told via technology devices we use every day to communicate. David must trace his daughter's digital footprint before she disappears forever. Interesting. Yeah, that's the movie. It looks very low budget.
That. It was really weird to think of John Cho as old enough to have a daughter.
Yeah,
that was the part that
that's
I think I had the most difficulty with.
Yeah, last week it was in 22nd place, and now it's in 5th. That's pretty insane.
Probably wasn't released in a large number of theaters. It's an independent film.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing was shot from using a webcam.
Oh, those are always interesting. What other movie did that recently that fucking flopped? I think it was what was the Unfriended? Wasn't there a second Unfriended film that was about the deep web?
God, I hope. Probably, but that's saddening.
Let me see. See, now I'm interested. That movie fucking flopped, I think. I hope it did, because I heard it was garbage. Deep web movie. Unfriended. Yeah, dark web. Yeah, that's another movie that was shot entirely from a fucking few webcams and shit. So it's super cheap to make. Alright. So those are movies. What's doing good in the box office? Some Happy Time Murders is at 8th place, sitting at $4 million for the weekend, with a total of 17. Incredibles 2 is still holding on in 11th place. It has made total budget. It's made $1.25 billion since launch. That's pretty cool. Sitting at first place in the animation genre, and first place in the superhero comedy genre. I love statistics and shit, like seeing how things are doing compared to others or analytics. Shit makes me rock hard. All right, those are those movies. That's what's been going on in box office. Have you guys seen any of these movies? I haven't. Let us know what you think. Is Searching good? Have you seen it? Probably not, but are you going to see it now? All right. So we have what to look for. We actually have quite a few things coming out over the next week. From the September 2nd to September 9th, I think it is. We have the first thing coming out September 4th. We have Destiny 2 Forsaken DLC coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Boring. Next one. We got Dragon Quest 11 Echoes of an Elusive Age coming out to PS4 September 4th. I didn't know that. I thought that was on PC too. Fuck. All right, coming out to PS4 September 4th. That one I actually give a shit about. For some reason, we have PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I think one of the new maps is coming to Xbox One on September 4th. We have Immortal Unchained coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC September 7th. NBA Live 19 coming to PS4 and Xbox One September 7th. We have SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy coming to PS4 and Switch September 7th. We have Spider-Man, the big boy, coming down. PS4, September 7th. We have Yokai Watch Blasters, Red Cat Corp, and White Dog Squad. Fucking Yokai Watch. Coming to 3DS on September 7th. Shawn, I know you and me are getting Spider-Man. You have anything else on this list that you're looking forward to? Dragon Quest, maybe?
Dragon Quest is already paid for.
Fuck, I need to buy it. That's Tuesday, right? Yeah, that's Tuesday that comes out. Damn, dude.
That's the week after.
Oh.
I've got a ton of shit coming out that I paid for.
I'm super excited. This is like the first big drop of fall, and I'm just tingling all over, man. I cannot wait to get my hands on Spider-Man. And we will be back next week talking about it, most likely, after we all get some time in it. So, we have some news articles this week. A few things to talk about. First one, Switch exclusive. Travis Strikes Again. No More Heroes release date has finally been announced. So we're getting some more No More Heroes. This is from Michael Higham, I guess, of GameSpot. The next game from developer Suda51 and Grasshopper manufacturer Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes has an official release date. It will be launching exclusively for Nintendo Switch on January 18th, 2019. Travis Strikes Again is a spin-off from the No More Heroes franchise, with series protagonist Travis Touchdown still at the helm, but in a slightly different form. Those familiar with the No More Heroes will instantly recognize the game's crude humor and off-the-wall premise. This story takes place 7 years after No More Heroes 2 and pits Travis in a sticky situation. Bad Man, father of Bad Girl, a boss from the first game, tries to avenge her death, but ends up getting himself and Travis stuck in a haunted game console called the Death Drive Mark II, and then have to fight their way out of the Death Drive 6 different games, hack and slash style. We had a chance to get our hands on Travis Strikes Again during Nintendo's PAX Showcase. That's not us, Trucking GameSpot. The game offers cooperative play with one player as Travis and the other as Badman. There are also unique co-op special attacks to pull off, which can be seen during the boss battle. Covering PAX West 2018, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit. All right. Shawn, are you excited for another No More Heroes game?
Yeah, I got the last one.
Hell yeah. I thought the first game was really good. I like Suda51. I think he's a good director. I think he does good shit.
I had that one. That's the guy with the laser sword, right?
Yes, sir. He's got a lightsaber.
Yeah, I've got that.
They literally call it a lightsaber.
Him, and I had the other one that they made where it's a first-person shooter and it's all in broad, flat color tones. And you're an assassin with multiple personalities. I have that one too. I don't remember what it's called though.
Oh,
the game doesn't play well because you can't use the Pro controller. You can only use the Wiimote, and it's very difficult to play.
Damn.
Like I love the game and the art style, and I think the gameplay is fantastic if I could control the game. But I played it for about an hour, and I was like, I really like this. I want to like it more, but I'm sorry, I can't.
The oof.
It's not. The game's not bad. You can tell it's a good game. I think that's why everybody loves it.
Trolls like dick.
But it's just so difficult to play. Like just trying to turn and shoot something when you're so used to sticks or a keyboard and mouse. And I mean, I can play any shooter with sticks and be competent, but that was so fucking hard.
Yeah.
So they do the same thing that they did with the 64 titles, where there's a lot of lock-on stuff. But then when you lock on, you actually, I think if I remember correctly, you had to like open menus to select a specific part to shoot or something. All the while they're kicking your ass.
I think I know.
It was just like,
oh fuck! I think I know what you're talking about.
Called. I still have it though.
I don't remember what it's called either. All right. I am excited about this game. I probably will be picking it up when it does come out. I think the premise of the game sounds cool too. I think it also opens, because a lot of the game, there's a lot of referential humor throughout the games, and it definitely seems like they're still pushing forward with that route. And I'd like to see what kind of other things they decide to parody or make fun of in this new game. As we're moving through 6 different games of this death drive, it sounds pretty cool. So let's move on to our next article. So this one's actually about...
Wasn't the save... Real quick, I'm sorry, just a little nostalgia thing. Didn't you save on the toilet?
I'm pretty sure you did, yeah. You went to the bathroom to save. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, continue.
Yeah. Spider-Man's first DLC will arrive in October, followed by 2 more later this year.
DLC.
Another of Peter's ex-flames is back in his life. This is Jordan Ramey of GameSpot. Insomniac Games community director James Stevenson has announced on the PlayStation blog that Spider-Man will be hosting or getting post-launch DLC on October 23rd, titled The Heist. The DLC is the first of a 3-part expansion called The City That Never Sleeps. Each part seems to focus on a different character from Spider-Man's circle of friends and foes, with the first being about one of Spidey's ex-flames. One very small spoiler for Spider-Man Falls, if you want to discover all the characters alluded to in the main game on your own. Stop reading. Oh, okay. So minor spoilers, but this is just Spider-Man's lore, so if you give a shit about Spider-Man, you'd most likely understand who these characters are. And they will be playable in DLC. So if you don't want to hear what you might run into in Spider-Man DLC, go ahead, skip a few minutes ahead. I apologize, I guess. Whatever. But I gave you...
I don't want to hear.
You don't want to hear? Who's going to be in the first DLC?
I want to know.
I want to know. Fuck, I haven't read it yet. I'm going to read it real quick. Shawn... Actually, I'll do it later. I'll just leave that tab open. I want to know. Fuck you guys. It's probably... how about this? How about we do this? How about we guess who we think it might be? If it's called The Heist, who do we think it might be that might be in this Spider-Man DLC? Let's make it an assumption. Who do you think, Shawn?
There's a ton of thieves in the Spider-Man universe.
I'm calling it who's the one that was in the
Goblin.
Who's the one in the
Black Cat?
Black Cat, the one in the PlayStation 2. I'm calling that. I bet you it's Black Cat.
Goblin steals a bunch of shit too, but I'd say if it's could be Black Cat, could be Kingpin.
No, it's Black Cat. I'm calling it. I feel like I've been.
She's more of a cat burglar, you know what I'm saying? She doesn't do heists.
But I think burglars can do. Don't you do a heist with her in the PlayStation 2 game? or the GameCube game, whatever, Spider-Man 2. I'm pretty sure she's in there, and you do a mission with her where it involves stealing a jewel. That's a heist. I mean, you don't have to.
I always thought of a heist as like a grandiose robbery where it involves a ton of stuff, not like maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
Heists always seem to be multi-stage, multi-layered robberies.
Yeah, I think they usually in like fictional things they usually end up being grandiose, but I think a heist itself literally just means a robbery. So anything can be a heist. But yeah, normally in fictional elements it is something where there's a lot of planning that goes into it and shit like that. But I think if you steal anything, you could call it a heist. I think usually people refer to them as
fair enough.
I think if people when people usually refer to things as heists, they're usually if it crosses a certain threshold of money too. If you steal something that's super expensive or it's worth a lot of money, or you steal a shitload of money from something, that'd be a heist. I don't know. Whatever. Fuck
also, Peter was involved with Black Cat on a few occasions in between. You know how like
sexually
characters break up a lot. Yeah, he dated Black Cat for a little while. And anytime Mary Jane would break up with him, he would end up with someone else for a little while. But he always ended back up with Mary Jane. Like nobody ever doubted who Peter was going to end up with. Like we all knew. Once Gwen Stacy was dead, we were just like, all right, it's Mary Jane.
So now I'm interested to see, because this Spider-Man takes place. Now again, this is just my head rambling. But if it is Black Cat, this would be a Spider-Man far into the future. Not far into the future, but a decent way into the future. He's an older Spider-Man.
He's talking about older Spider-Man. This is comic book Spider-Man. This isn't movie Spider-Man. If this was a movie Spider-Man, I wouldn't have bought it.
No. I'm saying this Spider-Man though. He's like 8 years into crime fighting. That's what I'm saying. This Spider-Man. It has nothing to do with any chronological. I don't give a fuck about any of the chronological bullshit of which universe he belongs to. I'm saying that this Spider-Man is a Spider-Man that's like 7 or 8 years into crime fighting. It's not like he's been Spider-Man for a month. You kind of get what I'm saying? So it is comic book Spider-Man. It's not movie Spider-Man, but it's still a Spider-Man. It's comic book Spider-Man's 7 years into his being Spider-Man. He's like in his early 20s.
Okay, so they're backtracking a bit.
He's like mid to early 20s, I think. I'm pretty sure that's like what he is. Let me see. How old is Spider-Man in Spider-Man 2018? Let's see. Wikipedia, bitches. Characters.
You know that.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I just don't understand why they stuck the white on his outfit. It makes no sense to me.
Peter Parker is 23 years old in this game. He's been Spider-Man for 8 years.
He's a teenager, so
8 years into Spider-Man. So it'd be after his finagling with Black Cat, if it is Black Cat, most likely. So I'm saying it might be an older Black Cat. I don't know how old Black Cat was when they fucked around.
Black Cat wasn't really a teenage relationship.
No,
that was when he was an adult. So this would be before this. I mean, you're talking about a Parker that's still relatively early in his superhero career. He's met most of his major villains. I mean, he could, maybe not villain or Carnage.
Dude, it'd be so cool if fucking Carnage was in this game. Probably won't be.
Yeah, I doubt that, because if it's early on, because Carnage and Venom were like 30 years after he started, and in story time, like, of course, time does not move the same in a comic book as it does in real life.
Fuck, I'm getting too excited, dude. We have to stop talking about this. All right, so there's a DLC coming. The first one's coming in October. They're going to have 3 that will launch before the end of the year, which is crazy. So they're putting a lot of effort into this. Usually you don't see DLC come out that quickly after a game launches. And then you got the other side where it's like, if it's coming so soon after the game launch, why don't they just put in the fucking base game? But we're not going to get in that conversation. There's nothing we can do there, at least right now. All right. Next article. We have an article that's in response to something that happened last week that you all probably know well about enough now. We referenced it at the end of our podcast. There was a shooting in Jacksonville but this is an article that involves EA and their relation to the shooting. So we have EA is donating $1 million to Jacksonville victims. The company is also setting up a tribute live stream. This is by Oscar Davis of GameSpot. EA has already responded to tragic events at the tournament in Jacksonville, Florida last weekend by saying it would support the victims and anyone else affected. Now it has reaffirmed that commitment by stating it will set up a tribute fund that will include at least $1 million donation from the publisher itself. Quote, this is by EA, the events last weekend in Jacksonville will impact the gaming community forever, EA stated. We can't begin to understand the pain so many are going through. So there is going to be a live stream. If you want to support this live stream, you want to help out and help donate funds to the victims of the Jacksonville shooting, the tribute live stream will be running Thursday, September 6th, and it'll most likely be on Twitch. It's not too many details of it as of current, but there will be one going on Thursday, September 6th. So keep a lookout for that. Maybe throw some bits their way, and they'll help put that towards a donation as a tribute to people that were affected by that disaster. So definitely go out there, show the world that gamers don't only shoot each other. This is according to the fucking news, how news looks at us, that we also help each other too. So definitely throw some donations their way. I'm sure they also have other ways of doing that.
They shoot each other.
They had a thing on Fox already that's coming up that because all this happened at a video game tournament, obviously video games are to blame, even though it had nothing to do with violence because it was just Madden. But there's already been like news articles that were talking about like, America needs to wake up to video games violence and shit like that. It's already getting backlash in that direction. So apparently, to news media, all we do is violently hurt each other, even if we're playing games like Madden. It's not a society problem. It's obviously the problem with video games. But that's all I'm going to say there. Stupid people being stupid, and of course those people talk to other people that stupidly listen. So, we have one more article before we get into our main topic. But definitely feel free to help that tribute grow that the funds that they will be donating to the Jacksonville victims. That's if you trust EA. Some people don't trust EA, but I think that they would probably hold their own here, because if this did ever blow up in their face, man, they'd be so fucked. I can't imagine them fucking around with something like this. Okay, we have one that I think you might be excited for, Shawn. I have no idea what it is though. I just thought that it might be appeal to you, but apparently Streets of Rage 4 is finally happening 24 years later.
Cool.
How many fists does it take to knock teeth out? This is by Jeremy Winslow of GameSpot. In case you didn't know, the 90s are coming back in full force, and who doesn't remember the era's iconic beat-em-up, Streets of Rage? Although it's been almost a quarter of a century since Streets of Rage 3, publisher Dotemu has announced the return of the side-scrolling beat-em-up with Streets of Rage 4, developed by Lizard Cube, who made Wonder Boy, The Dragon's Trap, and Guard Crush games, who made the original Streets of Fury. Streets of Fury 4 will further Sega's arcade brawler with new mechanics, an original story, and streets filled with rage. In addition to new mechanics and original story. What? The people don't edit these fucking articles. Streets of Rage 4 will be composed on hand-drawn visuals similar to Lizard Cube's 2017 remake of Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. Sometimes the streets can be unforgiving, though thankfully Streets of Rage 4 will also include solo and cooperative play. It is unclear whether co-op will be offline, online, or both. Furthermore, publisher Dotemu hasn't revealed the platform Streets of Rage 4 will appear on, nor has it confirmed a release date for the upcoming 90s-inspired brawler. Streets of Rage, also known as Bare Knuckles in Japan, is a side-scrolling beat-em-up released in 1991 for the Sega Genesis. Developed by Sega, and Streets of Rage franchise is considered a classic 2D beat-em-up held in the same regard as other brawlers like Battletoads, Final Fight, and the Golden Axe. Hell yeah.
Truth.
So, what do you think about this, Shawn? Are you excited for Streets of Rage 4? I've seen some pictures, and it looks quite fucking good. I'm not going to lie.
Are they three-dimensional beat-em-up or what?
It looks like it will still be a 2D scroller, but it's all like this hand-drawn kind of stuff. Here, let me send you a picture on Discord. 1 second. Super professional, I know. This is one of the shots of it. Looks nice though, man. So definitely, if you grew up on Streets of Rage, interests you, and you're excited to get back into it, you got one coming. We just don't know when. So, especially if you're a fan of the old 2D brawler, sit down on the couch, play with a family member, beat the shit out of some dudes for fun. Definitely some good times. So, Shawn, our main topic.
Yes.
Yes. Explain to me and the audience what it is.
I don't remember all of what I told you.
It's the mascot thing. I don't know. I have the text here.
Yeah, but I gave you some very specific information of the mascot thing. And I wrote it all down. It was
I have
in detail.
Silence Child. Favorite gaming mascots and why? And what mascots would we like to see retired or to be retired or stay retired? So there you go. So our favorite gaming mascots. We can also add on how gaming mascots affect games and viewers. What's the word I'm trying to say here? A viewer's impression of the game. So yeah, what's your favorite gaming mascot, Shawn?
Traditionally, I'd probably go, if I went with just like traditional mascot, I'd go Mario. And if I went with...
That's boring.
Right, but I am very nostalgically... Mario's like the Mickey Mouse of video games. And as for just favorite-wise, I loved it when Sony used Crash as a mascot.
Okay. Now, what about Crash you think had such an impact on you? Was it the marketing?
Crash was funny. He was legitimately funny. The guy in the Crash costume, the comedian that they had do it and write the roles and the words and stuff like that, he was really, really funny. And the jokes were funny and they were edgy, especially for the time. Like, with how careful video games tended to play things, it was really... There were edgy jokes. There were fun jokes. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
And the advertisements were funny.
So now, recently, we've seen Crash come back somewhat to the limelight with the remasters. Would you ever want to see another Crash game, though? Like a new one? Or would you be okay with him dying, not dying, but him retiring with what he's done so far?
I'd love to see them bring him back. I'd love to see him bring him back, try some new stuff with him.
Yeah, I really don't have any nostalgic attachment to Crash, but I do know that the remakes did very well and sold well, so they might have some reason to be like, oh, hey, let's just make another Crash game and see how it goes. They might see some kind of incentive to do that, so... I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Because I'm a fan of platformers in general, and to see one of like the grandfathers of that style of gaming come back and actually be like provincial for a month or two would be really cool, especially with brand new content, not just remasters. And they already have the engine. They just got to slap together levels and shit and call it a day. So I'd be interested to see something like that, see Crash return, and I think he might do well because they had good reception for the remasters. So let's go to the second part real quick, and I have a few also. Actually, we'll go through it together. So my favorite mascot, I would have to say, it's hard. I have a few in my head. I really, really like Samus. Like Samus from Metroid, because
Samus isn't a mascot, though. Samus is a character, but she's not a Nintendo mascot.
I mean, maybe our conception...
Mascots are they're the image that Nintendo uses. Mario, I mean, I guess you could say she's
the mascot of Metroid.
Mascot. She's the main character of Metroid, but like Sonic is a mascot.
Okay.
Like, you don't see Samus used to sell other series like you see Sonic and Mario, like you saw Crash,
but
like Sega did with that shooter with a little multicolored spaceship that was so stupid that everyone liked so much. They used that thing as a mascot for a while.
Galaga?
Death Jr. was the mascot.
Okay, then I'm
The
on. I
PSP.
then fuck that. Although I still want to say Samus, I'm gonna say Pikachu then. Just because
Pikachu's a mascot.
I have such
I'll take that.
I have such a fucking deep seated love for the Pokemon games, and I have such a love for everything really Pokemon related, from the anime, which still has to this day one of the best goddamn theme songs I have ever heard for any animated series. It is still to this day fan fucking tastic. Like, it is awesome, and I love the original Pokemon theme. To even today, where I still here and there I still watch the current gen Pokemon anime, which is actually much better than the original. The original Pokemon anime was fucking dog shit. It was awful, and the only reason that you may think it's good is nostalgic level, but the rest of it was ass and a half. Basically, 100%. I mean, again, it's a children's show, but it's like one of those things where sometimes children's shows, like a good children's show, would keep the child occupied while giving the adult who's attending the child something to do as well, some kind of way for them to get attached. Like SpongeBob does that. What else did that? Why am I drawing a brain fart? Like the Looney Tunes did stuff like that, and it gave something for both the adult watching and the kid watching to look at and enjoy. So they're not both, not one of them is bored. And the original Pokemon was not that. Original Pokemon was entirely, at 100% of its heart, something that was just for kids that adult really couldn't get into, which is what I felt going back into it, because it was the same exact thing. I tried watching it. I'm like, wow, this is really fucking bad. Like, it's just like super repetitive, very simple with the way that everything goes, just awful. Whatever. The games are much better anyway. It doesn't matter. But it's interesting that Pikachu, like out of all the characters, Pikachu is one of the ones that became the mascot of the series, just because
It was pet.
Yeah, it was Ash's original Pokemon, his initial one. But it's just like, if you see him, anyone that sees Pikachu, you could ask your parent. You could show your parent a Pikachu. You could show. I mean, I guess if it has to be within their exposure rate, like you wouldn't be able to show like a very old person a Pikachu necessarily. They might not know.
I don't think you need to explain. Like you have this knack of like breaking down the most boring shit to people who don't need it broken down to. Like nobody in this audience needs to explain that a 90-year-old may not know who Pikachu is.
Okay, well I'm just adding. Shut the fuck up. So Pikachu, he's the main line. Everyone who sees a Pikachu knows what he belongs to. It's Pokemon, right? I would.
But he's also a Nintendo mascot. Pikachu's much bigger than just the character. You did pick a good one.
I don't know. Like, I know I would further align Pikachu with Pokemon than I would align him. I know they're owned, but again, it's all under the same branch, that is. But like, you see a Pikachu, your first thought isn't necessarily Nintendo, which would be something you'd see with Mario. But your first thought with Pikachu is Pokemon because he exists within that world. But if you see a Mario, your first thought of Mario isn't Mushroom Kingdom, it's Nintendo, because he's like mainline big boy. They use him on everything kind of mascot. Now, I know Pikachu's still a mascot. They sell merch for him and shit like that. It's just like, when I see a Pikachu, I don't originally think Nintendo. I don't know.
There's a whole merchandising empire built around that little animal, though.
Yeah, no, he is.
Anyway, I'm just saying, like, Pikachu's much more along the lines of a mascot than Samus is. You could say Samus is a mascot, but it's very loose.
I agree.
I mean,
I mean,
just like trying to say Simon Belmont's a mascot, not exactly.
Yeah. Now let's. Oh, Kirby's good too.
Mega Man's a bit of a mascot he's a mascot for Capcom. Or was, back when Capcom gave a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say he is currently, but yeah, he was at one point.
You could say, was it for a long time? Ryu was what you could say. Ryu is the, yeah.
Kratos is kind of one.
I would say he was for a little while.
Yeah.
He was on a bunch of PlayStation branded stuff.
Yeah.
I really don't think he is anymore, but I think at the height of his fame, considering he was a Santa Monica production, Sony slapped his face on everything. including you could say at times Link has been as well.
Yeah.
The Boo, sometimes, Toadstool.
Yeah.
A lot of their iconic characters have been mascots. I think the biggest mascot in the video game industry would be Mario, seconded only by Sonic.
Yeah, Mario
Like those two ones are probably the most recognizable ones.
No, 100%.
Let's see if we can identify the major systems mascots. So for Atari didn't have. I don't remember Atari having one, to be honest.
No, Atari had their stupid logo over everything. They just
the
slapped
star thing.
Yeah, they didn't have
Nintendo
one game.
Mario.
Yeah.
Sega Sonic.
Yeah.
TurboGrafx 16. I do not. I can Bonk. Bonk would be TurboGrafx.
You're getting into ranges.
Even though he came along.
Getting into areas I don't know. I know.
That's okay.
Microsoft.
Bonk's Adventure.
Microsoft Master Chief. Can we do that?
Master Chief. They tried to make Blinks and it tanked. Master Chief is the closest they've got.
I mean, Master Chief really never sold. I mean, because I don't know, because they've put Cortana in more shit than they've put Master Chief, just because they put her in their operating systems. So it's
hard to fit Master Chief in places, but I wasn't a big Xbox fan, but he's probably the closest they've got. They didn't really have much else, so they kind of rode him as a mascot, even though I wouldn't say the best choice as a mascot because he's too serious.
I think one of the, like, if you were to think Xbox, though, that'd be like the first thing that popped to your head would be Master Chief. So I'll take it. That works. Can we do Konami as Solid Snake? Will that count?
Back in the day, I would definitely say Simon Belmont from Castlevania, but now, well, Konami's not a system, but yeah, probably Snake would be the closest.
I'm just going by company, because I mean, we could also do because Mortal Kombat.
Neo Geo didn't really have one.
Mortal Kombat would be Scorpion. Yeah, I mean, they pushed Scorpion. He's been in other games, and when you think Scorpion, you think who fucking made the Mortal Kombat games? It was Midway, wasn't it? Isn't it Midway?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could think that. He's big enough to a point where people would see him and would be able to distinguish him with something like a.
Yeah, but you distinguish him with the series. Not a lot of people would see that and immediately think Midway. I don't think they'd see anything Mortal Kombat and immediately think Midway.
I don't know. I mean, but what about? I'm thinking.
They're really.
We could do shitty mascots like the Mii's. I don't even know if we could count them.
Tails.
But if you think, what? Oh, Tails.
Tails.
I wouldn't consider Tails a mascot though. I mean, just because he was aligned with a game. I mean, they have Sonic and Tails. Nathan Drake. I'm just gonna start googling. I'm gonna start googling mascots.
Yeah, all right. Hold on, I'll pull up.
If the internet tells me,
let's try.
There's Link. Link is associated
You look
with
up Nintendo mascots, I'll look up Sega mascots.
Oh my gosh. Who has better mascots? I think Nintendo has better mascots.
Overall, probably, yeah.
Nintendo mascots. What a fucking half-assed main topic we got here today. I like it. Wow, I didn't get anything from Googling. Oh, I got a naked Barbie.
That's a hell of a mascot.
I have Nintendo characters, but I don't have mascots. Bowser can kind of be related. It'd be kind of pulling.
All right, so I think Kid Courage was a mascot.
Mm-hmm.
From the 8-bit Sega days. And I still don't remember the name of the fucking ship.
Yeah, no, you'd have me lost if you asked me.
Namco had Pac-Man, Capcom had Mega Man, Ubisoft used Rayman, Microsoft used Master Chief. We got all that. We're looking for shitty mascots, not good ones. That Rocket... Oh, fuck, Rocket? The Possum Rocket? What the fuck was he? Rocket?
Oh my gosh. I know what you're talking about, too.
That one was fun.
Dude, fuck. I can think of some I've thought of a few like abstract ones. Like there was like that one that they tried to push. That that like James Bond.
Alex Kidd. That's what I was thinking of.
That James
Sorry.
Bond gecko. Remember that? It was like what was his name?
Gex.
Gex. Yeah, I know they tried to make him into
that
a
was originally
mascot.
supposed to be a Yoshi game.
Yeah.
Accolade had Bubsy. He was shit. ASCII Entertainment had Artie Lightfoot.
Can we do Conquer? Conquer's Bad Fur Day. Just because I like Conquer.
Well, yeah. I mean,
they kind
for
of
Rare. Rare also. Yeah, Rare. He was one of the only original characters they came up with that you could use as a mascot.
What about Bubsy?
Captain Commando during the 8-bit days as well.
What about
Data
Bubsy?
East was Karnov. Bubsy, I already said that.
Oh, you
Accolade.
did? Oof.
Half Brick Studios had something called Barry. Irem had Rocky Rodent.
All stupid.
Hudson Soft had Bobberman. TurboGrafx had Bonk.
Dude, how
LucasArts had Chuck the Plant.
How can we forget what's his name? Dude, what's his name? Can we do Earthworm Jim? Does that count?
That'd be Shiny Entertainment.
Hell yeah, let's do Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim was cool.
What was that?
Microsoft Game Studios official mascot is Master Chief. The official mascot for Xbox, which tanked, was Blinks the Time Sweeper. And the official mascot, get this, according to Microsoft, what they consider the mascot of the 360 is Marcus Phoenix.
What? That's interesting.
Yeah. Huh. Nintendo we did Nitro, Rovio Entertainment, Red. Oh, her. Sega had Alex Kidd, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, dude, Croc.
Sagatas and Shiro.
Croc.
Oh, shit! That one dude from Virtua Fighter was on a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Jack Frost for Atlas.
What about Croc?
Croc tried to be a mascot and failed terribly. That was the Yoshi one. Was the Croc?
Yeah, Croc.
Crash Bandicoot and Spyro were mascots for the PS1. The PS3 had Sackboy and Nathan Drake.
Oh, dude, they got Glover on this list. Fuck yeah. Alex Kidd.
Yeah. Squeenix had the Chocobo, the Dragon Quest slime.
Dude, wait.
And
can we do
Gex for Crystal Dynamics?
I know Mario's pretty big. Can we? I know a lot of people. Can we put Banjo-Kazooie to Nintendo 64? Because Banjo-Kazooie, they pushed him pretty hard. Can we do it for Rare?
Yeah.
Banjo-Kazooie for Rare?
Yeah. Sunsoft had Arrow the Acrobat. That game was alright. Tenjin had Awesome Opossum. Don't ask.
Awesome.
Titus Software had Titus Fox.
Oh, man. Beautiful. The 90s, man. They tried to push... Mascots were so big, they just keep trying to, come on. We gotta make a charismatic character and make him absolutely annoying and frustrating to deal with. Can we do Lara Croft? Does she count?
I guess so. I mean, now we're just picking popular characters, so.
Yeah, but one could argue that a popular character can be a mascot because they use them to push sales.
They can hit mascot status, but a mascot stands apart from its game. And I mean, Lara was a sex symbol.
Hell yeah. Booger Man. Hell yeah, dude.
God, what about Toe Jam and Earl?
I'll take that. I like Toe Jam and Earl.
I hated those games.
I like how we're just naming nostalgic things at this point.
New topic: nostalgic characters from old school video games.
Jak and Daxter. We can't forget them.
Yeah, true that.
Who made Jak and Daxter? We could do that for them because that was their flagship character. Jak and Daxter was made by Naughty Dog. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Who would be bigger? I would say
Naughty Dog was like Sony's Rare.
Yeah.
Like Rare was to Nintendo.
I'd say Jak and Daxter is bigger than Uncharted. I want to say that, although Uncharted is huge. What about fucking Ratchet and Clank is also up there with close to mascot status.
Wasn't Ratchet and Clank also Naughty Dog?
No, I don't think so. Spyro. When I think mascot, the only thing I think is
They're usually cute and cuddly.
Super charismatic character that you enjoy. Ratchet and Clank is Insomniac?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Insomniac. Damn, dude. Insomniac's making Spider-Man 2. I'm gonna fucking come. I'm gonna come right here in my pants.
Insomniac's usually pretty good with their stuff.
Yeah, they are. That's why I'm so excited for this game. I searched up best mascots and I got fucking sports ones.
Are they owned by Sony?
They might be. I'm not entirely sure. I could find out with a quick Google, my friend.
They don't make games for anyone else. Maybe they're just contracted.
Can we do for Square Enix? Does Square Enix have a mascot?
Yeah, the Chocobo, the slime, and the other thing I mentioned.
Okay. I'll take that. Bomberman is close to mascot.
That's Hudson's. Bomberman was a mascot. He was one of the mascots for the TurboGrafx, him and Bonk.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Katamari Damacy. We'll just make that the mascot for Japan.
What, the God King guy?
No, the dude that rolls the Katamari. The little guy.
Wasn't. Oh, God.
God King sat in the sky. He just yelled at you every once in a while.
I love how we don't know what his name is, so we're just calling him God King.
Yeah, God King. Sly Cooper.
Sly, yeah.
That works.
Sly was good.
Yeah, like we're leaving video game territory, but I have Darth Vader on this list.
What? No, we just like picked random fucking. We've gone so far outside of mascots.
No, listen. I have the best mascot of the entirety of video game history right here, Shawn.
Think of football. Wait. Could fit on a field.
Freddy Fazbear.
Oh yeah, and then don't forget Freddy Krueger. And then Dink the Last Dinosaur from obscure '80s cartoons, and Jaws is a mascot for sharks. The T-Rex from Jurassic Park is a mascot for dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Spielberg is a mascot for directors.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Beards are a mascot for shaving.
Shantae. I'm just going off of Google searches. What the internet's telling me can't be wrong, Shawn. It can't be. You're wrong.
Sure, the internet is inevitably always 100% correct.
Indeed. Mario's at the number one of every one of these fucking lists.
Anita Sarkeesian's a mascot for SJWs.
Hell yeah, dude. We're getting there. The Big Daddy.
As a mascot for Psychopaths.
Can we say Cade 6 is the mascot for Destiny? Because they kind of pushed him. They're trying to for D2. They gave him a lot of exposure.
I'm going to give up on you now.
I'm thinking. Oh, dude. Supersonico for Nitro Plus. That works.
I looked that up, too. I saw that. I didn't even think it was worth mentioning.
But there you go. Dude, being a fucking weeb.
All right, so most annoying mascot for me, Bubsy.
Yeah.
Favorite mascot, probably I already mentioned.
Bubsy's existence was just trying too hard. That was everything that Bubsy did, was to try too hard.
Yeah, he was the epitome of try hard. Look at my witty one-liners. Look at how all the witty one-liners I keep saying all the time throughout the game. Every time you push a button, I have to say something. Yeah. Look at me say stuff. I'm edgy. Yeah. I'm cool. You like me.
Oh, yo. I know he's annoying, but what about the rabbits, dude? Can we consider them some of the most fucking cancerous pieces of shit?
Here's an off-topic fucking thing. Why did you stop making Rayman in 3D? Why did you do that?
Oh, yeah, right.
What kind of fucking crack? That last 3D Rayman game on PS2 was fucking epic, where you could play him or John Leguizamo, that blue-purple frog guy.
I fucking love Rayman,
that was voiced by John Leguizamo. Yeah, dude, that 3D Rayman was fun. It was so fun. The levels were challenging. I love that game. And then they're just, and it sold well, at least I thought it did, and all of a sudden, boop, no Rayman.
Can we do Duke Nukem? Does that count?
Duke.
Duke Nukem.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
He's good enough.
Can we do Duke Nukem's dick? Because
He probably got more action than Duke Nukem did.
yeah, I'm feeling really strong with that.
We'll take it. Dude, I'm just going through Google searches right now, dude. I don't know. This episode's been a train wreck. Oh,
I expected a stronger feedback from you on
I suck ass at this kind of stuff, dude.
Mascots. Like you're like, I like swords.
Can we do the Pit Boy from Fallout? I think he's awesome. All right, how
You're
about
a horrible person.
let's keep going instead of just fucking sitting here and rattling things off. What do we think mascots can do good for a video game?
I think mascots made you they gave you something to attach to. And that's one of the reasons why I brought it up is because, I mean, nobody's really done anything with mascots anymore. Nintendo, still does their commercialization of Mario, but you don't have Mario cartoons anymore. I mean, you see a lot of Mario collectibles these days because collecting's kind of in vogue again. But mascots were something you could rally behind. You could really get involved with and enjoy. And you'd talk about who was better, Mario or Sonic, and there was just a lot of fun to be had in enjoying mascots and being fond of them, and you couldn't wait for the game because you felt like you knew those characters and you were big fans of the characters. And I don't really feel like they do anything with them anymore. It really kind of sucks. Like, I'd like to see them come back. I mean, Sony stopped using Crash ages ago. Back when the advertisements were still funny. Like, I don't understand. It's like, I think it feels like the video industry has grown up too much to be fun anymore. Like, what the fuck happened? When did you decide to stop being fun?
I mean,
and have fun with your properties? And
I mean, Nintendo every once in a while will still do something cool here or there with their characters. But they've kind of aligned themselves that way. We're being like both a kid-friendly and adult-friendly kind of company instead of just being like Microsoft with, oh yeah, all our mascots are rugged war criminals, war heroes and shit like that, where everything's like, it's not something that can be both enjoyed by a child. Well, in this day and age, most likely it can, but you kind of get what I'm saying? It doesn't have that charm to it. It's just like, oh, here's Master Chief.
Nintendo, I mean, Sega aimed for an older audience too, but they still rallied behind Sonic. I just feel like whereas things have always been commercial with video games, I feel like they're more
I dropped my pen. Shawn, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I lost you for a second.
Oh, I just feel like, I don't know, man. It seems like some of and I said this before, I guess, but a lot of the innocence, the things that made video gaming so effervescent and fun, now it's like I can't wait for this new mature experience, and I can't wait for I don't know. I just feel like we were spoiled or something.
Yeah.
Like the small things that made video gaming so special just don't matter to anybody anymore. And now it's not, is this game fun? It's, is this game represent this? Does it do that? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, really.
I'm thinking also it's kind of...
I remember the magic of mascots, and I'm not so... Just because I'm an adult doesn't mean that I can't sit here and still love the shit out of Mario. And I mean, just talking about these old mascots, I'm like, oh, I love that guy. Oh, I love that guy. Oh, that one was really great. Oh, that one's kind of stupid, And
I think
when's
with
the
the
last
way
time you heard anyone talk about one?
I think with the way that video games have kind of expanded, it's more now of the focus is on the company more than the character that they created. Kind of like when people are excited for a new game, it's like, oh yeah, a new Rockstar game. But because they make different games, they don't have like a single unifying character that they use as a mascot. It's just like, hell yeah, a new Rockstar game, or yeah, a new Naughty Dog game, or yeah, a new Insomniac game. It's more of the focus and the attention goes to the company or the person creating the games, the director, than just, hey, there's a new Mario game coming out. and it's done by this. But even then, again, I think Nintendo's kind of got that special bubble that they operate within, where it's like, oh hey, yeah, new Mario game, new Legend of Zelda game, because they're still banking on those mascots. It might not be the easiest thing to do with the way that the market is set up, with Nintendo holding the reins when it comes to mascots. I mean, it's with games, you can have a game easily flop or do well, and with games getting more expensive to make, maybe they don't exist to do mascots, because it's possible that a game can only have one in its title, and if you put all this effort into marketing and all this other stuff for a game that ultimately fails or ultimately doesn't do well enough to make another, then that mascot, all the effort put into creating that mascot is defunct in a way. So maybe that's another thing with the way especially with the way the internet is today, where something's popular for a week and the next week it's not. It's possible for things to go completely out of control and get super popular and things to fizzle out almost instantly. Maybe with that volatility, people just don't put the effort forth into making a character that's supposed to hold as a something you can attach to for 10 years if they can't get 10 years of games out of that character. That's the only thought I had in that situation.
But they still took risks on them before. Arrow the Acrobat only had one game.
Well, yeah,
he was intended on being a mascot, and Rocket Opossum, I think was his name. I'm pretty sure he was no possum.
He was no possum.
He had two games and two different versions of a game on two different consoles, and he was supposed to be a mascot.
Yeah, I don't know. It might also. I don't know. I'm not too into the analytics of. I'm not entirely sure what a game cost to make back then compared to today, like with inflation, all that shit included. I don't know if games are more expensive to make today. I'm assuming they are, just because. But then again, there's also methods that have been put into place to make games easier to make. Because if you have the engine for a game, literally all you're doing is slapping levels together and creating assets to work within that engine. So I don't know the price of making a game today to making a game back in the day. It really depends on that, I think. I don't know. Interesting. Let us know what you guys think, because we put the time in here and there's not really much else we can get out of this. But it was interesting. It was an interesting topic. So a few things.
I've had better ones.
It's not a big deal. We've had better episodes too. Hey, you can't. Again, I've said it before. Not every episode can be absolutely riveting, right, Shawn? You gotta have a stinker every once in a while. But we hope you guys are still hanging around. You hung out with us for the last 2 hours. We appreciate it. Let us know, what's your favorite video gaming mascot? Do you have one that you think better represents a company than the ones that they currently do? So you think Link better represents Nintendo than Mario? Now I'll tell you you're fucking wrong. Yeah. But let us know what you think, guys.
You're allowed to have your wrong opinion.
Yeah, you're allowed to your incorrect opinion. That's fine. But yeah, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us each week. And how about this? If you guys want to prevent future shitty episodes, you can do us a favor. Send us topics that you think we should cover on the podcast. We do record Sunday night. So if you have something that happens over the course of a week and you want us to see if we can cover it, we have a feedback section in our Discord, or you could again do the other ways. Even make it a mailbag and just label it as a topic, and we'll use it as a topic. But give us something to talk about. Not that I'm saying that we're too lazy and not doing the work. It's just sometimes you'll have a week go by and nothing really vital happens that week, especially as we're getting close to all these big ass games coming. You just don't always have something to talk about. That's one of the curses of the podcast. There's not always something interesting to talk about, especially in video games, because there's huge areas of nothing happening that you can't really discuss. But we appreciate you guys again for tuning in. Shawn, what you got to say to our lovely viewers?
Hugs and kisses and all your pink parts.
Okay, now I'm sorely underprepared and I don't have my tab open, so I need to look for a stupid fact. I'm going to run out of these eventually. In our 500th episode, I'll be out of facts, Shawn. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Look up new facts. Start a new gimmick.
Start a new gimmick. You're right. All right. So before we leave, I shall leave you all with a thought The national anthem of Greece has 158 verses, but not a single person has memorized all 158 verses.